Fox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars.
Is there a motion to terminate Chief
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has once again vanished from a crucial moment of accountability, leaving residents both bewildered and furious. This latest chapter in her contentious tenure unfolded during a special town meeting organized to confront her directly and demand answers to the growing concerns engulfing the community. Residents had gathered in desperation to uncover the truth behind Dalton's financial turmoil, including the unexplained disappearance of funds and the rationale behind an extravagant party that reportedly cost the struggling town $85,000. The event, featuring high-paid rappers, was widely criticized as ostentatious and tone-deaf, igniting a firestorm of outrage and raising serious questions about Henyard's judgment and fiscal responsibility. Against a backdrop of mounting chaos and civic dysfunction, the atmosphere in the meeting room was charged with frustration and unmet expectations. Citizens who had come seeking clarity and accountability were instead met with Henyard's glaring absence. Faces in the crowd reflected disbelief and exhaustion as the realization sank in that the mayor had once again chosen to evade responsibility. Critics cited her no-show as emblematic of a controversial administration marked by alleged financial mismanagement, eroding public trust, and a series of scandals that have cast a long shadow over Dalton. Henyard's frequent absences from crucial town matters, coupled with her apparent prioritization of personal ambition over public duty, have intensified speculation about her commitment to the role and whether she intends to fulfill her responsibilities at all. In her absence, citizens voiced their grievances, expressing mounting anger and frustration. The unanswered questions loomed large and troubling. Where had the town's money gone? What possible justification could there be for such extravagant spending in the midst of financial despair? Most critically, what was the plan to stabilize Dalton and prevent further collapse? What should have been an opportunity for accountability, and progress instead devolved into an outpouring of disillusionment and uncertainty? Henyard's absence only emphasized the urgency of addressing these issues and left residents more determined than ever to demand answers. Justice and a future built on integrity, rather than evasion and empty promises, became the rallying cries of the community. As the day ended without any word or explanation from Henyard, the anger of Dalton's citizens transformed into a steadfast resolve to hold their elusive mayor accountable and embark on the difficult but necessary work of restoring their town's integrity.
addressing things as the supervisor? There will be no comments. There will be anything. It will be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard appears to be engaged in an extended game of evasion, leaving many residents of Dalton convinced that she may be preparing for an escape as the town's financial problems worsen and public outrage over her leadership reaches its peak. Henyard has been avoiding calls, skipping meetings, and remaining absent from her office, actions that have only deepened suspicions about her intentions. Amid Dalton's financial turmoil, her increasingly elusive behavior raises questions about whether she is planning a dramatic exit or executing yet another bold power play. To grasp the scale of the discontent surrounding Henyard, it is necessary to reflect on her controversial tenure, which has been marred by scandals and financial mismanagement since she assumed office in 2021. Her time as mayor has been characterized by a series of high-profile controversies that have steadily eroded public trust. Among the most damning issues is her handling of Dalton's finances, a tale of mismanagement and questionable priorities that has pushed the town to the brink of financial collapse. What was once a modest surplus in Dalton's general fund has spiraled into a staggering $365 million deficit, with Henyard's leadership and decision-making coming under intense scrutiny. Her administration has faced accusations of lavish spending, fiscal irresponsibility, and misallocation of resources, which critics claim reflect a greater focus on personal ambition than on addressing the needs of the public. This rapid descent into financial chaos has left Dalton in a state of disarray, forcing residents to bear the brunt of the consequences. Henyard's leadership has been marked by extravagant events that drain critical funds, as well as alleged favoritism toward personal connections rather than addressing the town's pressing issues. These decisions have sparked widespread frustration, with residents questioning whether Henyard is genuinely committed to Dalton's future or merely using her position for self-serving purposes. Her pattern of evasiveness, dodging public meetings, avoiding accountability, and now seemingly disappearing altogether, has only exacerbated the situation. As pressure mounts for answers and decisive action, Henyard's continued absence and refusal to engage with the community have left residents feeling abandoned. Despite the escalating crisis, Henyard has remained conspicuously out of sight, furthering the perception that her leadership is not only ineffective, but actively detrimental to the community. As Dalton's financial struggles reach a critical tipping point, residents are demanding transparency about the use of their tax dollars and clarity on how Henyard intends to address the fiscal mess under her administration. Each unanswered question and broken promise deepens the belief that Henyard is either incapable of reversing the damage or unwilling to attempt it. Dalton's crisis has now become undeniable, and with Henyard seemingly in hiding, the community is left to speculate about what lies ahead. Whether Henyard is plotting her exit or preparing another strategic maneuver to deflect blame remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the urgency to confront Dalton's mounting challenges is growing by the day. The town finds itself in one of its darkest chapters, and its residents are left wondering whether their leader will finally emerge to face accountability, or if this prolonged game of evasion will leave Dalton in a leadership void from which it cannot recover.
It's shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
Residents of Thorn Township are outraged after a costly and poorly managed event organized by Mayor Tiffany Henyard pushed the financially struggling town even further into debt. Despite a clear veto from town trustees rejecting her request for funding, Henyard proceeded with the $85,000 Taste of Thorn Township celebration, which featured R&B singer Kai Wyatt and rapper Jay Holiday. Both performers were reportedly paid exorbitant fees, with Wyatt receiving $30,000 for a 30-minute performance and Holiday earning an astounding $220,000 for the same duration. What was initially promoted as a community celebration became a glaring example of wasteful spending, frustrating residents who are already burdened by neglected public services and crumbling infrastructure. The event, which suffered from low attendance, added insult to injury for a community grappling with long-standing issues such as deteriorating roads, underfunded services, and mounting municipal debt. These critical concerns were disregarded in favor of a lavish celebration that few seem to support. The fallout from the event has only heightened concerns about Henyard's financial management, with recent investigations and public records revealing a troubling pattern of wasteful expenditures. Reports have surfaced detailing taxpayer dollars spent on luxury hotels, first-class flights, extravagant meals, and private security details, all under the pretense of official business trips to cities such as New York, Atlanta, and Portland. One of the most glaring examples of this reckless spending occurred during a stay at the Four Seasons Hotel in Atlanta, where Henyard reportedly incurred nearly $10,000 in expenses for a trip that yielded no tangible benefits for Thorn Township or its residents. This lack of accountability surrounding her extravagant expenditures has left many questioning how such spending can be justified when essential services are underfunded and residents are struggling to make ends meet. Henyard's actions increasingly appear disconnected from the reality her constituents face as she continues to prioritize personal luxuries over addressing the town's pressing needs. The outrage over the Taste of Thorn Township debacle, combined with Henyard's pattern of high spending, reflects a growing dissatisfaction with her leadership. Residents are demanding greater transparency and accountability as they contend with deteriorating infrastructure, inadequate public services, and a ballooning municipal debt. Henyard's refusal to adapt her fiscal approach to address the community's urgent needs has led to mounting frustration, with many now viewing her leadership as a significant obstacle to Thorn Township's progress. The calls for meaningful change and more responsible governance are growing louder as the town's financial crisis deepens, leaving residents increasingly determined to hold Henyard accountable and to push for a more sustainable future.
Finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany.
Even more alarming than the extravagant spending on public events is Mayor Tiffany Henyard's alleged misuse of Dalton's finances, which has caused widespread outrage and disbelief among residents. A thorough review of the town's financial records has revealed shocking expenditures, including an inexplicable $43,000 spent on Amazon in a single day, a purchase that remains shrouded in mystery despite growing demands for transparency. Henyard's response to these revelations has been anything but open. She has consistently refused to release financial reports, ignored trustees' repeated requests for explanations, and taken deliberate steps to obscure her financial dealings. Local assets. Trustees have made numerous attempts to curtail Henyard's spending, but each effort has been met with fierce resistance. Over recent months, they have implemented spending limits, revoked her access to town credit cards, and even sought a federal investigation into her actions. However, these measures have faced constant obstruction. For instance, when trustees proposed hiring former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to lead an independent investigation into Henyard's financial practices, Henyard vetoed the proposal, dismissing it as an unconstitutional overreach. Henyard's frequent use of veto power has effectively blocked every attempt to hold her accountable, further deepening the divide between her and the town's governing board. Trustees' frustration has reached a breaking point, as their efforts to assert fiscal oversight have been thwarted by canceled meetings, delayed budget proposals, and unanswered inquiries. These actions have created the perception that Henyard is operating without accountability or regard for governance. Even a former ally of Henyard has turned into a vocal critic, publicly calling for measures to address her behavior. The growing dissent highlights the urgent need for transparency and accountability as Dalton grapples with the fallout from her controversial leadership.